Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 9 betting preview, closing lines. Not that much line movement this week, but we'll talk about all of it. What's up, Sticks? Hope you're doing good, man. Hope you're doing good. Glad to be here tonight on this Friday, November 1st, another month. We got about 20 Patreon questions tonight. Waiting for everyone to get in the chat. Hope everyone's doing good. And one thing I want to talk about, man, is I want to just caution people about this Broncos game. And it seems like everyone wants to bet the Broncos +9, +9.5, +8.5, whatever book you're getting it at. And I'm just not with that. What's up, Hound? How you doing, Hound? And I think the Broncos get absolutely belted by the Ravens. I don't know about you guys, but I am worried about the Broncos in this type of situation. And when they're in like close, gritty games, when they're at Mile High, I actually like them, even though we picked the Chargers to beat them big. But when they're going to be in a high-scoring game, I'm worried about them that. So I wanted to just start that. I wanted to start the show with that. I want severe caution on the Broncos. And I'm not anyone who wants to like lay like 9 or 8 points with the Ravens. But that's where I'm at. Yeah, Baltimore's about to give him the belt. What's up, Johnny Guns? What's up, Johnny Guns? Yo, everyone, hit the like and subscribe. If you haven't joined the Discord, you're missing out. We are cashing throughout the week. Yeah, man, you've been getting hot on Discord. So appreciate it, man. Great to see you guys. What's up, Pound? What's up, BNT? Yeah, BNT, I haven't seen you in a minute, man. I have a photographic memory, so I remember everyone's name. So haven't seen you in a while, man. What's up, Stacy? What's up, Ron? What's up, JJ? What's up? JJ says, hello, Lawson. Lions, Bills, and Eagles have a good show. Let's go to work. Yeah, man. I mean, the Lions game's getting more appetizing as it goes on. Like, from my understanding, Love's going to play. That's like the one game that's been hopping along with the line movement. I know Rams went down to like -1, but I think Nakua plays. I didn't see any late breaking news on that. I was looking at the injury report. I mean, one late breaking news is Hawkinson's going to play for Minnesota. Felt like that was one of the bigger ones. Like, we know T. Higgins out. I think there's news on Isaiah Pacheco. We know Lamar Jackson's going to play. Tony Pollard's going to play. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm curious. One game I actually think that could be a sneaky cover is Jags at the Eagles. So one injury I'm watching is Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's got like a chest or sternum injury. So I want to see how that plays out. I mean, do I have the balls to bet the Jags +7.5 at the Eagles? No. What's up, David? Great to see you too, my man. What's up, Cals? Yeah, I really like the Ravens too, Cals. It's like, do you want to lay 10 points? Richard says, good evening. I like first half Baltimore to cover the spread, and I like Eagles and Jags under first quarter. I can't speak on like the under the first quarter in Jags Eagles. I can't speak on that, but I like Baltimore to get off to a fast start as well. And I'm curious how they're going to use Deontay in terms of like the Ravens. Does that take Surtain off Zay Flowers? That was one thing I was pondering on the player prop show. Bodyguard. I know Lamar's hurt, but it's normal. It's like week 9 and he's taking a lot of hits. He missed 2 practices. He said he's playing today. So as long as he's playing, I feel fine about it. Although he did kind of go like a crash test dummy in the second half against the Browns. I think he got frustrated because he threw 3 or 4 great deep balls and they hit receivers in the chest and just bounced off and hit the ground. It was concerning, to say the least. Any advice on the New Orleans game? Well, when I look at this New Orleans game, Carr's playing, right? That's definitive. I assumed he was playing just by the spread. Um, I would lean like Panthers to cover, New Orleans to win, but I think New Orleans should be a teaser option. I can't see them losing the game. Panthers are getting healthier on defense. Like Clowney's going to play. Some of their front seven is back. Thielen should be back on offense, but you still have Bryce Young. And you do wonder if the Saints are going to stop the run. That's the big component in this game. If you tell me Saints stop Chuba Hubbard, Jonathan Brooks should make his first NFL appearance for the Panthers. I think he's coming off IR. Haven't seen the definitive news on that. I know he was practicing. If the Saints can stop the run, I think they'll beat the hell out of Bryce. Bryce Young, man, he was pretty bad against the Broncos. I know Michael Mann was trying. He was telling me it was Bryce's best performance in the league. I don't know, man. I don't know. I would not bet that game. I would just tease the Saints down. All the best from Mexico, compadre. Go Dodgers. Yeah, how about them Dodgers? It's crazy how the Dodgers won the World Series and Ohtani really didn't do anything the whole World Series. I mean, that's a good team. So that's a good team. What's up, Richard? Thank you, Rich. I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, I think getting Carr back helps. It's just the issue with New Orleans is their offensive line and defensive injuries. That's really the big problem with New Orleans right now. And I think that's the biggest difference from like week 1, week 2 to now. That offensive line can't protect, but at least you get Carr back. We know Shaheed's out for the season, but at least you still got Olave. And we haven't seen much of Kamara these past few weeks. I remember the Broncos game, like he had like 5 carries for 4 yards. It was just, there's not much that offensive line is doing. But then again, we know the Panthers aren't a team that's going to control the defensive front. So that's where we're at. Akio Vaughn, what are your thoughts on the Packers-Lions game? I like the Lions more as the week goes on. I mean, I assume Love is starting. When I first saw the line, when it was like -3.5, when I picked it Tuesday, I was leaning Packers to cover because, firstly, I just assumed Love was going to play because all the reports I was reading Monday and Tuesday before the show were rather positive. But also, I think Love and the Packers have some favorable matchups against this Lions secondary. But, man, I don't think they can exploit it. I don't. And they're making too many mistakes, and I think there'll be turnovers as well. So I like the Lions to win in the cover. Okay, Jonathan Brooks isn't playing. Thank you, bodyguard. Mac Mall. How much will Diggs and Bland out hurt Dallas? It's devastating, man. And like the line movement says it all. I saw it was at 3.5 before the show. It's just fucking devastating, man. Because on the Tuesday show, I felt like Dallas was an underdog. Like I felt like this Falcons money pick, people were forcing a little bit. And you guys know how high I am on the Falcons. Is there anyone higher in like sports media, ESPN, whatever, anyone who talks about football than me about Atlanta? I'm pretty damn high on Atlanta. And I felt like the Cowboys were dangerous underdogs in this game. But, dude, Bland not being back and then you take Diggs out of the equation is absolutely devastating for me. It's absolutely devastating. And I'm not sure Dallas can stop the run. And that Dallas injury report is still littered. Like, I'm even seeing like a guy like Linval Joseph, a guy who's absolutely pivotal. I'm not saying Linval Joseph is what he was like 4 or 5 years ago when he was with the Vikings or when he was with the Giants. When he was with the Giants, he was absolutely dominant. But the Cowboys just need a big body in there to eat up some blocks at defensive tackle. And if you just look at this whole injury report, it's just too many guys injured. They get the bye week. No one gets healthy. Micah Parsons in, right? Can someone fact check me on that? Micah Parsons will be playing, correct? So At least they got that going for them. It's just this Dallas upset is it just went off the fucking rails. This train went off the track and it just collided with a steam engine and it just exploded. This Dallas upset is off the ropes. I don't know what's going on with them. Like maybe Johnny Guns can offer something, but I don't see any positive direction. I felt like this was a very positive matchup for Dallas in terms of Atlanta's defense is absolutely struggling. They don't get much pass rush. Dak player props should have been in play. CD Lamb will have plenty of time to operate and create space. Like, listen, this is a great matchup for Dallas's offense. This is a get right game for Dallas's offense. It's just, I think the Falcons are going to just run them into oblivion. I really like the Bijan Robinson prop now that I think about it. NFL needs Dallas in the playoffs. I mean, we need Dallas to be competitive because some of the stuff we're seeing from them is just, it's bad, man. It's bad. And they had a lot of chances to win that 49ers game. They had a lot of chances and they made a lot of big mistakes. That was just absolutely disappointing. It's just disappointing. I'm not even a Dallas fan. Not a Dallas bettor at all. The one time I went big on Dallas was I think maybe 3 years ago. And yeah, I normally don't bet Dallas. David Curran, hey Lawson, I have a stained glass shop in my garage here in Colorado. I make NFL logos. I'll make you one if you give me a pick or pattern. I would love that, David. I would love that. I'll have you send it to my parents' house because sending stuff to Brazil is very, very tough with some of the new laws here. So, but I would love to have you send that to my parents. If you have Instagram, hit me up or send me a message on Patreon. Broncos country, I lost 5,000 on that Jets Houston game. That Broncos, come on, man. Come on, man. You should have been on Discord. We were all on the Jets on Discord. But that doesn't do you much good. But yeah, man, I think a lot of people lost money on that game. Listen, I've lost a lot of reputational points with me hyping up the Jets this year. So for me to get on the Tuesday video and scream Jets money would just be disrespectful to people. But yeah, I've lost a lot of what's the word that the kids use? Clout hyping up the Jets this year. They were absolutely pitiful in the first half. That was a pitiful game, by the way. And, I would love to come on here and beat my chest and say, I was always right about the Jets. You guys were just panicking. Stay calm. It's a 17-game season. I wish I could come on here and beat my chest like that. But the Jets didn't show any signs of turning any corner whatsoever. And it's what I said about Houston in the Tuesday video. I'm worried about that offensive line. I'm worried about the communication of that offensive line. Listen, the offensive line was absolutely horrendous when they played the Green Bay Packers. But at least they had an excuse. Green Bay was raining in zone blitz after zone blitz and a hostile atmosphere. The Meadowlands was like a library last night, full of nervous energy. And the Jets were rushing 4, maybe 5 guys at most, and they were getting their ass kicked. And that's one thing that's worrisome about the Texans. Like, I saw a lot of headlines today focusing on Stroud, didn't he get sacked 8, 9 times? And he's not necessarily a guy who's going to hold the ball long. So that was one thing that was an extreme red flag for me. Wahid the Great, what's the Discord? Sorry, been crazy busy. Keep up the good work. Yo, I feel you, man. Everyone gets busy this time of the year. It's the Patreon Executive Club. So no pressure to join it, but if you're in the Executive Club, I pass you the Discord. So but no pressure, man. But yeah, no pressure. DeWiz, yo, Lawson, how do we feel about these Bengals injuries? So I saw T. Higgins was out. I kind of expected that, though. So let's look at the Bengals injuries. Okay, Geno Stone. Is Geno Stone going to play? That's important at safety. Zach Moss doubtful. I actually think Zach Moss being out helps them. I know Coop has a player prop on Chase Brown. Yeah, Orlando Brown out. I think like I said on the video, I think the Raiders cover. I had the Raiders to cover last week against the Chiefs. That was a money pick, although tough to put that on Patreon. I don't have brass balls to put the Raiders plus 9.5 or 8.5 on Patreon against the Chiefs, but I think the Raiders cover the game. Bengals win. I think the Bengals are a teaser option at best. Their original home of the money pick. What's up, Dennis? What's up, Dennis? What's up, Leo? Yeah, we were talking about your Ravens earlier, Leo. Yeah, I mean, people are agreeing on the Ravens to cover. I mean, the Vogue pick is Broncos to cover. Charlie Chips. Yeah, Charlie Chips. Yeah, but maybe that's Bronco Country's average bet, man. We don't know. We don't know what his average bet was. I mean, I was feeling a vibe on that Thursday night. So I did get excited about the Thursday night game. You guys know me. Normally, I'm not too excited about the Thursday night games. Von Smith, I'll be in Tennessee for the Pats game. My Pats for the upset. Drake May, I feel, is going to play plus 3.5 underdogs. I'm slamming it. I think the Patriots win the game if Drake May plays. It's just I'm a little bit nervous he won't play. And it almost killed our over on Patreon when he got knocked out of the game. That was absolutely devastating to that over. Luckily, the game went absolutely crazy near the end of the game. So, but still, like, they're a different team with Drake May in there. Although Jacoby came in and played good, but they need Drake May's mobility with that offensive line. And I do think Tennessee has the better roster overall. Like, I think Tennessee's the far better team, but I think Drake May's the far better quarterback between like Rudolph and Levis versus Drake May. Give me Drake May. Thank you, Big Fat Jack. Thank you, Big Fat Jack. Share the videos, man. Share the videos. All right, let's get to the first Patreon question. Okay. Carl L. John, thank you for all you do, man. Seriously. Would I be a dumbass to go medium on the Panthers money line? I wouldn't say dumb because I like long shots. Like, I know like long shots are like more acceptable in like European soccer and with Europeans betting, but I like long shots. That wouldn't be my long shot, Carl. My long shot might be like Jags money line, or to move the Commanders out to an alternative line of like minus like 8.5, minus 9.5. Those would be my long shots. But yeah, man, I think everything has the makings of an upset in this Panthers game. It's just you have Bryce Young to contend with. And you have a Panthers defense that does seem to be getting a little bit healthier, but there's still serious concerns. So yeah, man, if that's your long shot, I'd pull it. I think it's like better than like putting a big bet on Panthers to cover the spread because you can't trust them no matter what the fundamentals say. Okay, here we go. OZJ Jets. Yeah, how about the Jets last night? OZ? Ray Ridge, what's the Patreon picks for the weekend? Ray Ridge, Friday after the call-in show. They'll be up, Ray. Always up, same time. There's one up I put up early, so. Juicy Purser. Favorite overs this week. I really like Detroit Green Bay over 47.5, assuming Love plays. Battle for first place. I like the over in the Ravens Browns game. I think it's 45.5. It could have moved, but I really like the over in the Browns Chargers game. Now, I know the over in the Browns Chargers game is a little bit contrarian. It's a little bit counterfactual because like Chargers are a very methodical team. They run the ball a lot, but we're seeing the Chargers open it up. Same with the Browns. I feel like the Browns are going to open it up more with famous Jameis Winston. I feel like the Browns will run it better. The Browns offensive line is finally getting healthy. We saw Chubb. I think he had like 50, 55 rush yards last week against the Ravens. I think that continues. And I think once the Browns get the rush game going, I think they can take advantage of this Chargers secondary. And also, this Chargers team is still beat up at key positions. Now, one of those positions, wide receiver McConkey, Quentin Jackson, is also banged up, but I believe both will play. But I still think Herbert is hitting his groove right now. And every single week we see Herbert throwing it more and more. So I like the over there. Like, I think it's a close game. Like, I think we see like a 24-21 game, 24-20 game. I like the over in that. I also like the over, like I said, in the Broncos-Ravens. I think the Ravens get into the 30s. I respect this Broncos defense. I just think it's going to be negative game flow. Also, when you get into a blowout type situation, there's one reason why everyone keeps saying, oh, the best player prop of the week is Bo Nix over like 214 and a half passing yards. I wouldn't go that route. Like I said in the prop video I did earlier today, I would go Sutton over his prop. But I do think this game could turn into something of a shootout. And we know this Ravens secondary struggles to cover and struggles to play consistent football. Thank you, Juicy. Richard Lockhart, the Eagles and Jags under first quarter, John. The Eagles haven't scored in the first quarter all season. Money, money, money. Yeah, it's just with the Jags, you don't know how they're going to start the fucking game. You just don't. You just don't. But I get the logic. The Eagles' scripted offense has been bad, but it does seem like the Eagles are starting to find their identity. But what's the over-under for the first quarter? Because I need that information before I can give any sort of educated take. Jesus Gallardo, I have an open two-team teaser. First leg already hit. What's your safest pick for the second leg? Thinking Ravens -2. Also, love the Rams this week, -1 straight up. Let's get this money. Let's get it, Jesus. Yeah, I do like the Rams. They're under consideration to be on the betting card this week. A little bit concerned about the Nakua injury. Someone update us in the chat because those West Coast injury reports come out a little bit later. Last I saw, he's going to be a game time decision. I think he's going to play, but you never know with Nakua. For teaser options, give me the Bengals. Just stick with the Ravens because I listen. I think the Bengals are a great teaser option. I also think teasing the Jags up, maybe the 14.5 would be a good teaser option. But if you can get the Ravens -2, I'm completely fine with that. I can't see them losing to the Broncos. I can't see them losing by more than I can't see the Ravens winning by less than 3 points. So I think you're good with the Ravens, Jesus. Joseph Campbell. I'm thinking it's a look-ahead game for Dallas. I know Dak plays Atlanta well, but I think old Kurt Boy has himself a good day, and the Falcons win by 5 points and almost tempted to bet the over, but it's a bet high, 52.5 at my casino. Yeah, it is a bet high. It is a bit high. Yeah. But Joe, what are the Cowboys looking ahead to? If they lose this game, aren't they going to be 3-5? I mean, what could they possibly be looking ahead to, though? That's my question. Yeah, Jags. Yeah, Jags go crazy after London. I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see about the Jags. There's other teams that are certainly give you more security when you bet them. Matt, no, I don't know, man. These Ravens games, they seem to go over. People told us last week on Patreon, oh, Lawson, there's no way this Ravens-Brown games goes over. Everything went wrong in the first half for the over, and it still ended up going over. Like, this Ravens offense is legit. Outside of the Commanders, I don't think there's a better offense in the league right now. Janice Stasilus. Are you Lithuanian, dude? Hello, John. The bets are getting better. What do you think about Bears season? Can they make playoffs or are they just wannabes? I think they're wannabes. Like, I think the division's really tough. Like, I think the Vikings are going to go through a little bit of a valley, but I don't think the Vikings are done at all. I do think the Vikings will catch some sort of second wind. I do think the Vikings will have some problems with the Colts. The big matchup in that Colts Vikings game is if the Vikings can stop the run, because all the stat guys keep saying Vikings have the number one EPA against the run in the league. Well, how did that work out against the Rams? And we know the Rams have a makeshift offensive line. And how did that work out when a team actually wanted to get physical and run it against them? So I think that's the big matchup in this game. But I'm not sure like the Bears are the guaranteed pick everyone seems to think this week against Zona. I kind of wanted your guys' opinion on that, because it seemed like I was like it seemed like when I made the Zona pick on the Tuesday video, I was on a complete island like Gilligan. Seemed like maybe 90% of the viewers were on the Bears, maybe 10% were with me on the Cardinals. But yeah, Joe Jones, someone's got to check if Nakua is going to play, because that West Coast information comes out later. Oh, Latvia, my bad, man. Latvia, my bad. That's good. Very nice country, man. Very clean country. That's one thing about the Baltics. Like, there's no garbage. You guys like really keep it clean. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's get to Deion Jones. What's up, Deion? Get money, Lawson. We will. What do you think about the over-under in the Detroit Green Bay? I think it's a lot. Guys, can I be honest? Like, I'm a little bit skeptical about it. Like, obviously, I'm going over. And I do think the Lions defense has some vulnerabilities, especially without Aiden Hutchinson. Although the pass rush has been good the last 2 weeks, although the Titans can't block anyone, so just keep that in mind when you do your analysis. Pass rush was good against the Vikings, and we know the Vikings pass block pretty well, especially if Derek Shaw's healthy. But yeah, man, the Lions have secondary issues, so I see what you're saying. And this Packers defense always seems to just come back down to average. And we know what the Lions do against average defenses. They run up the score. And here's why I'm going over. It's because when I don't like Lions games when the over is like 51.5, 52.5, 53.5. Those actually tend to go under. The sweet spot with the Lions overs are when it's like 45.5, 47.5, like this one. That's why I'm going over. And it's also because situational football, it seems like someone put the stats in the chat, but it seems like the Lions have the best red zone offense in the league. Every single time they get to the red zone, it seems like they come away with 6. So yeah, I'm going over, Dion. Kels, Lawson, what's up? Can we trust the Eagles with 7.5 points? I'm not trusting them, Kels. I also like the Rams. I like the Rams. Bears, I don't like the Bears. Bengals, it's a little bit risky. Like, the Raiders play to cover games. They're this year's McVay. You guys remember, like, when the Rams are really bad one year and the Rams just play to cover? That's how, like, the Raiders are. Like, Antonio Pierce was just kick a field goal with 50 seconds left to make sure they cover. So be careful about that. And Ravens with the 9. I love the Ravens with the 9, Kels. I love that. I like the way you're thinking. It's just be cautious about the Bengals, because where's the peak? I don't think the defense is getting better. The offense doesn't look in rhythm. They could have been up like 17-3 on the Eagles, yet they're such a sloppy team. They leave so many points out on the field. They're a team you can't trust. If they were laying like 3.5 or they're laying like 2.5, that's a different discussion. It's a completely different discussion. But the fact that they're laying 7.5 against the Raiders, I don't know, man. And this Raiders offense, yes, we know they're limited. We know they're bad. But I said on the Tuesday video, and I stand by it, like, I got a lot of pushback for it. But I feel like the Raiders are running the ball good. I mean, I know Luke Getsy's under a lot of criticism, and I get why. Not the best offense coordinator, but I actually like their plan on offense. I like how they're running the ball. I like how as long as Jacoby Myers is healthy and you know you got Jacoby and Brock Bowers to throw to, feel like Minshew's an upgrade on Aiden O'Connell. So it's just, I don't trust the Bengals right now with like -5. I damn well don't trust them with -7.5. But that's me, man. Prince, I like the Bucks as well. I like the Bucks as well. New Call of Duty just dropped. Kyler did not practice all week. Does he really play Call of Duty, or was that just all memes? I know they were complaining about him playing too many video games when he got the new contract. Yeah, wait. The Broncos defense is good. I don't know if I would use the word elite. I don't. Okay. I want to read this one comment. I'm just trying to read it. Next game, we got the new name, Money Lawson, over under. Love your show, Chico. Thank you, Chico. Hope you're doing good, man. Hope you have a great Friday and a great weekend. Okay, let's get to Derek. If you had to take off 2 games on the 7-point teaser, which would they be? Thank you as always, bro. Baltimore -2.5. Keep it, Derek. Cincy, pick 'em. Keep it, Derek. Buffalo +1. Keep it. Philly -0.5 point. Detroit +4.5. KC -2. I would. There's not one I see that I would necessarily take off. I would just, Derek, I wouldn't take anyone off. But if I had to take off 2 games, I would take off Philly. I would take off Philly, and I would take off Philly, and I'd probably take off KC. But the rest of them are good. I like how that's looking, Derek. Brian DePaul. What's up, Brian? Get it, money man. Thoughts on this money line parlay? Washington, Baltimore, Buffalo +150. Okay, Buffalo against Miami. I like it. Yeah, I like it. Washington, Baltimore, Buffalo parlay. I love it. I normally don't love parlays, but +150 is good. I'm excited to see what the Commanders do against the Giants. I get that game is dangerous, and we got more questions related to that, so I don't want to go too far into it. And no suggestions on that, Brian, because I absolutely love it. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. GNG, hey, Lawson, let us bust some bookies balls this weekend. Against my better judgment, I followed you and jumped on the Jets last night. Another few months in Brazil. Good call. I knew you were a little nervous, so was I. Yeah, I was nervous, man. It's just the Jets made me look really bad this year. They made me question my credibility and sanity at times. But, you know, this is a humbling profession. Like, there's nothing more humbling than betting games. Because at the end of the day, these are 50-50 splits. I usually don't do parlays, but this is from Quat. I usually don't do parlays, but it's tempting to play a 3-legger this week. Lions, Eagles, no names. +216 with a 10% odds boost on FanDuel for a +238. Talk me out of it, Lawson. I dare you. Okay, Lions, Eagles, no names. Listen, I can't necessarily talk you out of it. It's just, are we getting great value with the Lions there? Like, wouldn't we want to go hammer them with the spread instead? Like, wouldn't it be safer to go like Ravens, Eagles, no names? That would be the only thing I would talk you out of. But I do think the Lions win the game. So I can't necessarily talk you out of it by any means, Quat. And I do think the Eagles will have problems. Like, I do think the Jags cover against the Eagles. I feel pretty sure about it. Just wish I had the gusto to bet it. But with that being said, I like the way the Eagles are trending, and I feel like the Eagles are finding identity right now. I mean, So that's where I'm at. Prestige. What prop has the best chance of hitting regardless of odds? Well, I don't look at like minus 150, minus 180 props when I do the prop show. Let me pick out my favorite prop. I love Laporta over 40.5 receiving yards for the Lions against the Packers. But also one of my favorite ones was I like Nick Chubb over 52.5 rush yards, or I like Cortland Sutton's over receiving yards, because I think the game flow of that Ravens Broncos games turns into a shootout. So those would be my three favorite. I don't want to give away the prop video. You guys got to go watch. You guys got to go support that video. But yeah. So yeah, Prestige. Those are the three I like the most. I also like the Hurts under 26.5 completion, under 26.5 pass attempts. Like I said, because I think the Eagles are finally getting to what their identity should be. Brian Medjana Lawson, I've been watching you and Gruff talk football. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Would I lay money on the Ravens minus 9 points? I'm still deciding whether I'm going to lay money or not, but I do like the Ravens to cover. I never budged on that one, really. I get why the Broncos are the popular pick and the fundamentals say pick Broncos, but I think the Ravens are going to respond here. If you want to get with the Ravens and you want to do it in another way, maybe team total over 27.5 for the Ravens could be an option. I mean, it could be an option. Yeah, man, yeah, man, hit the like button. Yeah, hit the like button. Okay, Peter Nix. Okay, let me just reload it so I can get all the questions on Patreon. Okay, Peter Knox. Sorry, Peter. Peter Knox, question 1. I see a path for the Giants to cover. I see a path for them to cover as well. First, run the ball a lot and limit Daniel Jones' job. I mean, that's what they try to do every week. Giants run the ball very well against a strong Pittsburgh defense. Second, Giants have a good pass rush. They might impact to hurt Jaden Daniels. Third, do Commanders really need to push hard in this game? They might take it just a little easy with a hurt quarterback in Pittsburgh on deck next week. Thoughts? Well, listen. I think one thing the Commanders are doing are running the ball great. And one thing the Giants defense hasn't been doing, even though they have Dexter Lawrence, is stopping the run. And I do like the Giants pass rush, but when you have Jaden Daniels back there, it is limited. And also, I do think Jaden Daniels has another week to heal, and I think they're going to hit them with a lot of read option. Secondly, I think that Giants secondary is really weak. Thirdly, I don't know how much you can cover up for Daniel Jones. I think the most improved defense we've seen this year, Pete, is this Commanders defense. This defense seems to get better week in and week out. And let's just look at what the books are saying. The books have the team total for the Giants at 19.5. They have their team total at 19.5. I'm not saying the books are correct, but when you look at Commanders games, they're a team, they're an offense that is extremely explosive. And they're one team I feel like Vegas is slow to catch up to. They're very slow to catch up to. And Vegas has been slow in adjusting this year. I mean, Vegas did win a lot of money because everyone bet the Texans last Thursday, because, we get it. Like, Vegas still thinks the Jets are going to be good. They're crazier than me. So Vegas has made money long-term on that. But for some reason, Vegas is doubting the Commanders still. And I just think this is one of the most explosive, one of the most potent offenses in the league. And I also feel like this Commanders defense is playing great ball right now. Their pass rush is very good. And you talk about pass rush, man, this Commanders pass rush is better than the Giants right now. And I told you guys 3 weeks ago, this Andrew Thomas injury has completely dismantled and discombobulated this Giants offensive line. And Daniel Jones is a hard guy to cover up. I'm not sure the Giants get the run game going all that great. I'm not sure. And the Steelers were also able to run the ball all over the Giants defense. So if you give the Commanders the run game, I think the Commanders can put the wallop on them. And if there's one team I trust to not take their foot off the gas, like there's a few teams in this league, like Vikings go for the jugular, Ravens go through for the jugular. And I got to say, man, the Commanders have been going through for people's necks. They haven't given up in these games. But I get your caution because Daboll is a very good coach. And I don't bet against him or I don't pick against his team lightly. Peter Knox, question 2. Feel the Browns can win? I do. I think the Browns win the game. Jameis airs it out, opening up the run game for Chubb. Browns offensive line is healthy now. I feel like that offensive line is going to play good. I feel the Browns team will be pumped after the win last week and after getting rid of the pervert. Chargers seem like a methodical team without explosiveness. What do you think? I agree. And Herbert is playing at an extremely high level. Greg Roman is calling more passes. We are seeing the Chargers attack downfield. But when Jalen Reagor is your best deep threat, there are limitations. When Will Dissly and Ladd McConkey are your best targets, there are limits to what you can do. There are limits to your explosion. And this Chargers team is still one of those teams that is banged up both defensively and offensively. And the Browns can come in this game like without a care in the world. They have nothing to lose. And I do feel like this is a tough spot for the Chargers. I agree with you, Pete. I'm on the Browns. The more the week goes on, the more I like the Browns. Let's be honest about it. Ron Borquin, 6-point teaser thoughts. Saints -1. No names +2. Eagles -1.5. Cincy -1. Okay. Give me the Saints. I like them in a teaser situation. The no names +2, like fundamentally in a teaser, isn't the best bet, but I'm not going to disagree with it. I like bringing the Eagles down. I like bringing Cincy down. I would say maybe consider the Bills. I think the Bills could be in play here. So, yeah, like Prince, like I do think the Eagles are, like I said, if I had to pick like a long shot of the week, on the upset video last week, I had the Browns as a long shot. Like I laughed when I picked it, but I had them as a long shot. If I had to pick one long shot this week, I would probably go Jags. So it's just it's tough. It's tough to get people off taking the Eagles down because I get it. Magic Johnson owns Washington. I think he owns a part. Like I think Josh Harris owns most of it. Busy Gal. The Commanders only won by that miracle Hail Mary last week, or I'm mixing the teams up. Yeah, they did. But the Commanders dominated the game. The problem was they got to the red zone and kicked like 5 field goals. But overall, if you look at game flow, the Commanders completely dominated that game. And that Bears defense is far better than what the Giants are going to be putting out there. Slam and Sam. Yeah, I mean, Jaden Daniels is an absolute phenom. He's an absolute phenom. Von, I don't know how much the revenge angle works for Dougie Patterson. I don't think that's going to work too much, man. I really don't. I mean, people always accidentally mix up the names. That's why I call them the Commanders. Roscoe. Yeah, Browns are a great teaser option because, let's just get that out there before everyone goes because I don't know if we're going to have guests on. I haven't seen Lauren. I haven't seen Mike. I haven't seen Chris. But I do want to say, like, Browns fundamentally, if you go by, like, the Wang teaser formula, the statistician, The Browns are a great teaser option. And I think that's going to be a one-score game. I think that's going to be a nail-biter. I think that game comes down to the last possession. I'm leaning Browns heavy on that. So that's where I'm at. Okay, wait, I wouldn't say the Ravens are a money pick because I think there's other meat on the bone. I wouldn't say the Ravens -9 are a money pick, but it's not because like the Broncos defense is awesome like other people think. It's because I respect Sean Payton and I worry about this Ravens offensive game plan. Like I said, they're one of the most explosive offenses in the league. Like they're one of the most explosive offenses in the league by far. But Todd Monken worries me to death with some of his game plans. Like look at like the usage of Zay Flowers week to week. You just don't know how he's going to be used. You don't know what plan they have in store. Rake Flyer, I'm not a big costume guy. I'm not against Halloween or anything like that. I've just never been a big costume guy. So take that for what it's worth. Take that for what it's worth. Okay, here we go. Cooked by Little Chef. Jameis Winston's a natural leader. I agree. Was there anything more entertaining than Jameis Winston's pregame interview? His hype, his like when they did the circle before the game, the pregame speech, and then his postgame interview. Was there anything better than that? I don't think so. Slurry Pumper. Hi, Lawson. I like the Buffalo Miami over 49.5. I also like Buffalo -6. I don't want to parlay, however. What do you think? I'm leaning under in that Buffalo Miami game because I don't trust Miami's offense, and I'll get into why. Now, Tua did play good. Now, let's be honest, he did play good. But I have 3 concerns about this Dolphins offense. Let me take a sip of water so I can spit it out. I have 3 serious concerns about this Dolphins offense. Firstly, everything's underneath. Firstly, they're worried about Tua's health. So they're trying to get the ball out in under 2.5 seconds. And they did it quite well. And there was a lot of short passes to Arkan. There's a lot of short passes to Tyreek Hill. But is that really using the talent to the best of their abilities? Secondly, this Bills pass rush is really good. And this Dolphins offensive line is really bad. So when I look at this matchup, I think we're going to see more of the same. Dolphins trying to run it a lot, which they might be able to a little bit. They ran it well against the Cardinals, but we didn't see anything deep down the field. And if those safeties of the Bills, Taylor Rapp and Hamlin, start creeping up, that field can get awful small for Tua. And I'm wondering where the offense is going to come from once we get to the second half without them hitting a shot deep. And do they have the confidence to hit it deep? On the other side, listen, this Dolphins defense has problems. They can't get to the passer rushing 4. In order for them to get a pass rush, they always have to blitz. And they let Kyler Murray escape time and time again last Sunday against the Cardinals. It was absolutely one of the most frustrating experiences I've ever had. But with that being said, Josh Allen's going to keep escaping and he's going to make plays. I just wonder how many points the Bills pick up. Like I see like a 27-20 victory for the Bills. So right at that over-under. So I'll go under. In terms of Buffalo -6, I like it. Like I said, I think there's scenarios in this game where it can turn ugly for the Dolphins. And this Bills pass rush, you look at how good Rousseau's playing. You look at how good Ed Oliver's playing. This Bills team can absolutely swallow you up. Do I think the Finns are due for a good performance against the Buffalo Bills? I do, Slurry. I do. But I'm just not seeing how it's going to take place with the way the offense is currently constructed. I'm just not seeing a lot of glimmer of hope. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not seeing a lot of glimmer of hope. That offense moved the ball well against Zona, but there was still the sloppy plays. They fumbled 3 or 4 snaps, and you just can't do that against Buffalo. And one encouraging sign from that Miami defense was they were very, very good stopping Arizona and James Conner against the run. But like I said, pass game wise, containing Kyler Murray wise, they were pretty poor. Yeah, is Lauren in the chat? Yo, what's up, Specs? Cool Breeze. When was the last time Miami won in Buffalo? Not sure. Not sure. Like I said, like it's not about like what happened fucking 5 years ago. I'm just looking at what we saw last Sunday, and you guys can bring up to a spray chart against the Cardinals, and the Cardinals have absolutely no pass rush as it is. Absolutely no pass rush. And you can bring up that spray chart and you can see how everything was underneath out of his hand in 2.5 seconds. And that's just not going to cut it. And when you got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, you have to throw deep. And the one time they threw deep, it was a 35-yard completion to Tyreek Hill, but Tua underthrew it, and it probably should have been a touchdown. I'm thinking Atlanta, but I don't like that situation. I don't like that spot at all, Specs. I don't like that spot at all. I don't like that spot at all. Like at the beginning of the week, I was liking Dallas for the upset, but I'm not liking Dallas's injury report. I'm not liking the vibes that are going on there either. I feel like this is a great get right game for this Dallas offense against the Falcons, though. Yeah, I mean, if Dallas can stop the run, they could easily win the game. But can they? Tua's 0-9 versus the Bills. Ouch. Jesus. Yeah, like I said, it's just like I don't know what's going on with Dallas's training department. Yeah, Joe, like that Atlanta's like -3.5 now. So that 2.5 was scrumptious when it first came out. But yeah, if Lauren's on the chat, we'll get her on. Okay, here we go. We got Bills Mafia in here. No, I agree. Dolphins running backs can run all around the Bills, but like I said, there's like not enough variety. And I feel like the Bills are vulnerable against the run game. But like I said, can Miami push those safeties back? Because if Hamlin and Taylor Rapp are able to play within like 10, 15 yards of line of scrimmage, then I think that limits Miami's run potential. And a lot of Miami's offense is getting stale. Like it's really getting stale. Yeah, no, Gunk, you're right. Like the Dolphins defense is overrated. Like, but I don't think they're a bad defense at all. It's just they have severe limitations. Severe limitation. Yeah, what is the weather report? Yeah, Lauren, if you're in the chat, let me get you on. Yo, Maddie, thanks. Maddie saying thanks for joining on Patreon, my guy. Thank you for joining on Patreon. And Joe, thank you for joining on Patreon as well. Appreciate it. Link in the description. Okay, let me get Lauren on. I think I talked enough. So I think we touched on every game that kind of matters. We didn't talk much about the Vikings Colts, but I think you guys heard me talk about that enough during the week. Okay, let me send the invite. Let me send the invite. Okay, Lauren, I sent it. I sent it. Cooked by Little Chef. Okay, let's see what Cooked by Little Chef said. Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston's awesome. Jameis Winston's just awesome, man. I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm so happy he got in. Who would y'all start? Kyler Murray or Caleb in fantasy? Well, I wouldn't start Kyler Murray because you got more big play potential. But yeah, I don't think either have a good game. Yeah, no, I know, Specs. Like, Falcons have absolutely no pass rush. So, like, I mean, it's a perfect situation to get right. And they can't cover anyone either. They got a good secondary, but they can't cover anyone. Ken Mize. Okay, hey, bud, thank you for your view each week. No, thank you, Ken. How do you feel about a 5-team round robin? Bills -6.5, Lions -3.5, Rams -2.5, Washington -3.5, Philly -7.5. I would probably take the Philly -7.5 off of there. I would probably take that off of there. That's the one I would poke holes in. Like, I think Jags cover. Like I said, like, I'm not going to beat my chest and say, oh, put the jugular on the Jags, because you just can't do that responsibly. Like, it was easy for me to, like, for instance, pick the Raiders as a money pick against the Chiefs last Tuesday on the video, but putting that bet in is a lot harder, especially when you bet those bad teams. No, I know. Like, Luciano, I'm not even that biased to the Panthers. I'm just talking fundamentals, man. I mean, we know the Panthers suck. Like I said, like, I would not bet that game spread. I would tease the Saints down. I had Broncos to cover last week. It's just when it's time to put the bet in, the spread got up to fucking 11.5 by the time I was posting Friday night bet. So, yeah, it's just laying 11.5 with the Broncos. Like, wasn't like my favorite thing to do. Yeah. Lamar's playing. He said today he's playing Bills Mafia. Sub what for it? I would probably sub Colts +5, man. I mean, once you get to 5 spreads, you're kind of like rolling the dice anyways. But I'd probably sub Colts in there. Let me take a look at the spreads. I liked how you had the Rams in there. I would probably go Ravens or Browns as well. So, yeah. So that Cowboys Falcons game is +3 on Bet365. DraftKings is +3.5. +3 even. So it's shaded to +3.5. So it looks like we're going to get +3.5 by Sunday. Broncos went back up to 9.5. Raiders went down to +7. I mean, so that does take a little bit of value. Guys, I really like the Cardinals this week. I like the Bucks to cover for talking those big spreads as well. Yeah, so Green Bay Sunday report. Super heavy rain could be 15 minutes here and there with some heavier rain, but more so looking at steady light to moderate rain. Hey, Lauren, are you going to come on? Okay, got you. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Arizona spread is moving. I mean, the desert's a very good home field. And obviously, when you look at this Zona Chicago game, you do lean Bears when you first look at it, because the best unit of both of those teams is the Bears defense. That's the one thing that is most consistent. Both offenses are inconsistent. The Cardinals defense has been inconsistent. I do think the Cardinals defense is well coached, but they are very inconsistent. But the one consistent factor is this Bears defense. But the Bears start games so slow. And ever since Eberflus has been there, this Bears team lays an egg so many times starting games. And I felt like the Bears were terrible. Like, I know everyone's talking about Stevenson waving to the crowd, and then he tips the Hail Mary back and they lose on that. I know everyone's talking about that, but the Bears had no business winning that game. Caleb Williams was out of rhythm. That Commanders defense had a beat on them the whole game. The Bears did not look good. They did not look good at all. And I know it's a good get-right situation against Zona. I think the key to this Bears offense isn't Caleb Williams. It's about getting DeAndre Swift going. But I'm not sure they get him going this game. And then without a run game, we see Caleb Williams just isn't all that good. When they have a run game like they had against Jacksonville, like they had against the Panthers, this Bears offense can be quite expansive. It can be quite expansive. Yeah, I mean, cool breeze. Dallas could have a game like the Jets last night. I completely agree. What's up, Campbell? What's up, Campbell? King Justin. What's up, King Justin? What's up, Mike Stacks? Mike Stacks, I liked your Jacksonville pick. on Patreon. I was thinking that all week, and you inspired me more than a little bit on that. I did like that. I do like your gusto. You're not afraid to take a big spread. Yeah, beating you 83. I think Bills are a great teaser option. Wade Ford, Tampa Bay plus 9.5 looking good. Defense is healthy. Otten is looking like the best tight end in the league last few games. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but he has looked good. I think Cohen is doing an excellent job as offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Bucs. Like, let's be honest about it. I believe the defense keeps Tampa in the ball game with a chance to win at the end. But my issue is I like Tampa Bay to cover, so I'm not disagreeing. And I think the Chiefs are playing their worst football of the Reed Mahomes dynasty. But I'm worried about this Tampa Bay defense. I feel like they've been poor the whole year. I feel like they've been really poor the whole year, guys. Yeah, Lauren, no problem, Lauren. No problem. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Let me see if we got any more Patreon questions. Yeah, so, okay, I think okay, J-Bar. Rams, Seahawks, no DK or Noah Fant thoughts. Rams look legit right now with weapons on offense and D. Looks like it's getting better, J-Bar. I love the Rams this week. I love them all week. Listen, of course, nothing can be smooth. That's why college fun bets only come up like 2 or 3 times a year. Nothing can be smooth sailing, cool running, so to speak. You guys remember the movie, the Jamaican bobsled team, Cool Runnings? Nothing is like ever cool runnings, but with the Nakua injury, it threw a little bit of curveball for me, but that's not changing my methodology. I think this is a great spot for the Rams, and a big part of this Rams-Seahawks game is what we saw against the Vikings, the Rams run game. If the Rams run game gets going, I just don't see how you can stop this Rams offense. And one thing we know about the Seahawks, they haven't stopped the run all year. Let's even go to the Atlanta game. Did I look like an idiot picking Atlanta against the Hawks? I did, but I think I was on the right side. The Falcons had negative game flow the whole game. Negative game flow. They were chasing the game since like the first quarter. Seahawks got the ball first. Falcons made a lot of dumb penalties on defense. Their defense didn't actually look all that bad that game. But anyways, so Falcons are chasing that whole game from behind. Yet the Falcons still found a way to put up 170, 190 rushing yards against the Seahawks. One, have we seen the Seahawks stop the run at all this year? So if you give Matt Stafford a run game, I'm just wondering, If the Rams are running the ball, we know what happens next. Play action, Stafford with all day. And is the Seahawks pass rush playing all that good? Like, I know some people absolutely love the Seahawks pass rush. I don't. So, and this Rams offensive line, even though they have a lot of injuries, it seems like McVay has been able to patch and make it work. Mike, let's make some money, boys. Props, baby, cash. Yeah, Mike, go check out the video. I got some good props this week. We were a little bit short on the props this week. A lot of the lines didn't release much, but I feel like we got a good list. I had to go for some team totals as well, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, Metcalf out is big. I mean, Metcalf's like the emotional leader of the team. He's like one of the only consistent players on the Seahawks. Like, I get why people like the Seahawks. One of the comments I got on the Tuesday video was someone saying, he always puts the thumbnail of the team facing the Seahawks. Well, it's because that's the team I want everyone to focus on. That's why it was Josh Allen last week, because I wanted everyone betting the Bills. It's not because I hate the Seahawks. I wanted people betting the Bills. I want people to make money. It's not me fading your favorite team. I have nothing against the Seahawks. I like Geno Smith. I like DK Metcalf. I feel like they have a great home field advantage. I feel like the design of the stadium is absolutely marvelous and beautiful. But we're in the business of making money. I'm not in the business of making fans feel good. If we have to fade your team, we have to fade your team. Same thing with my Vikings. We have to fade the Vikings. We have to fade the Vikings. Me being a fan doesn't mean fuck all. You know, and like everyone says, I hate the Bills. Well, I had Josh Allen on the thumbnail last week because I said the Bills are going to fucking win. Yeah, King Justin, it's okay to fade your own team. If you're too biased to do it, then don't bet your own team. That's why one of my golden rules of betting is don't bet your own team. I do break that rule, but we've been plus money betting the Vikings on Patreon. But I know when to bet against them as well. And I think this week, I don't know if I would take my Vikings with the -5. When it opened at -6 and I thought we're getting Anthony Richardson, that was a completely different scenario. You know? Yeah, I get it. Like, and I like being a fan too. It's just, yeah, I haven't been that way in a long time. Like, maybe when the Vikings got far, because I was really excited, like maybe I got a little bit tribal about the Vikings, but not really, because I knew that team was the real fucking deal. Yeah. Yeah, Marcy, I'm glad you like watching me getting all worked up. I was like, yeah, man, like I don't hate the Seahawks. Like, why would I hate the Seahawks? I mean, they're a good franchise. Yeah, I know. Like, you think DK Metcalf cares if you buy his fucking jersey? Like, like it's just, yeah. Yeah, well, I gotta get some merch, but I tried to make some, but it's tough because I can't ship it out because being located in Brazil and all that. So, all right, what's up, Donald? What's up, Donald? I haven't seen you in a while, my guy. I haven't seen you. Yeah, we're fans of making money. Stacey Hamilton, I fade my Steelers if needed. You gotta do what you gotta fucking do, okay? Like, and you should know everything about your favorite team, and you should know when to get against them. Some fans go the other way. You guys ever met that one fan? Like there's a guy on the Discord last week because we had the Bills as like a Patreon bet. I said it was the best bet. And then he's like saying, I don't think my Bills are going to win. I know when they're going to lose, and they're going to lose this game. And there's always sometimes like the fans who are like extra negative to compensate, which I get because we've all been disappointed. It's just you got to try to stay even keel. Always got to try to stay even keel. Verse is a beast, Jay. And that young Rams defensive line is coming along good. I guess my issue with the Rams defense is their linebacking core. Their secondary can mix and match, and they scheme well on the back end. My issue with the Rams defense, the linebacking core, I think they have one of the worst linebacking cores in the league. I think that's why their run defense suffers. Yeah, no, Wiz. Wiz. The Hawks were terrible against the Bills. And I don't even feel like that was like a good Bills performance. I felt like maybe that was like a B- performance from the Bills, maybe a C+. I mean, the Bills didn't have to reach too deep. They didn't have to reach into the bag and pull out anything too special. It was rather academic. I mean, Bills did play some good red zone defense, but then again, it helps when Geno's stepping on left guard's feet. Yeah. Okay, Bill. Okay. Yeah, that game was shit, Luciano. That game was shit on Thursday. I mean, that first half was one of the worst I've ever seen. Yeah, it's just Ken. Some people don't understand how gambling works. Yeah, it's, I mean, my thoughts were, listen, I think the Jets are on paper a great team, but I think they're poorly coached. So, and I'm not sure the vibe's right in the locker room. So I'm not going to get too excited. But I've lost a lot of reputational points and clout hyping up the Jets. Let's be honest about it. So I'm on a wait and see approach with them. I just don't want anyone to fall for a trap because I think some people really fell for a trap by traps I set earlier this year, and I honestly feel bad about it. Because some people say, like, Lawson, you won't admit when you're wrong. No, I do, and every single pick is on public record, but I really feel bad for hyping up the Jets, but I feel like my football instincts were right. Okay, let's get Lauren. Hey, Lauren, good evening.
Hey, I'm literally driving right now. I'm just pulling into a parking lot, so just bear with me 1 second.
Sounds good.
How's everybody? Dude, I had a killer week last week. I lost one bet. Cincy, that was it. I smashed Washington. I got lucky on the Hail Mary, but they were honestly the better team the
Lauren,
whole day.
you didn't get lucky okay, can I, before you go,
I know.
You were right on Washington. It was
my best bet. My best bet.
But they dominated the whole game.
The whole game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, sometimes it's just like, listen, you're going to lose games. You don't deserve to win. You're going to, it goes both ways. But Washington deserved to win that game. Like, they dominated the game from front to back. Like, credit to the Bears defense, excellent in the red zone. But I felt like Jaden Daniels, like, I feel like he's going to be healthy this week. I think he's going to go off on the Giants. Let's just start there.
The Giants? Right?
Yeah.
They're playing the Giants? Yeah, Washington. I love Washington this week again. Last week I had Washington, Buffalo, and Indy in a 3-game parlay and smashed it. I loved Indy last week too.
Did you go for any of those over-unders on Patreon, or they didn't
I didn't play any over-unders last week, not one, because I was so high on the 4 teams. Oh, and Jacksonville. I had 5 teams I was high on. Cincy, which shit the bed. Jacksonville, Indy, Washington, and the Bills. So 4 out of 5. I posted
that
3
Bills one was nice. That was stressful.
It was great.
But but here's what I'm thinking with the Commanders game. Like, I think people on Patreon misinterpret it, but I also I get why people think the Giants are dangerous in the game. Like, every team's dangerous in any spread. Okay, first.
Yeah, I mean, they're still an NFL team, but I personally, there's nobody playing better than Washington in the offensive.
No, that's what I'm saying. Don't you feel like Vegas is slow to adjust? Like, outside of the Ravens, is there an offense that's more like explosive, will lay on an onslaught more than the Commanders? I don't think so. Not from what I've seen. Like,
Not at
It's
all.
not like 2 years ago where we can say like Bengals and Bills and Chiefs are in the equation because they're not playing full games.
No, they're not. And let's be honest, Philly's about as slow as molasses getting going. So, and Tampa's lost pretty much all of their firepower. So,
Yeah, like Tampa's all scheme now, and like the Seahawks are explosive on offense, but they make too many damn mistakes. So it's just pretty much the Commanders and Ravens for me right now in terms of teams that can just put their foot on the gas pedal and go.
Right. And Tampa can't cover anyone for shit.
No,
so,
that defense is bad.
They're horrible.
Like, we should be able to bet that 9.5 and put it on with confidence. It's just difficult because I think their offense will be able to scrounge points. I just don't think their defense will do anything. But
yeah, no, definitely. I think I really like the Rams this week. I hate betting my own team, but the Saints are going to murder Carolina if Carr's back.
He has to be back, right?
I'm pretty sure. I'll lay 7.5. I don't care. I'll do it. I don't bet my own team, but they wiped the floor with him last time. They're just bad. I would bet anybody -7 against Carolina. I mean, Denver cooked him last week. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Denver didn't even play good.
They didn't even do much. Bo Nix hardly even did anything. Like, I mean, they ran the ball, got what's his nuts to make a turnover, got him to fumble, ran the ball. Like, I mean, and they were up by 30.
And then once they got up like 2 scores, they started throwing it just to
just to have fun.
And running trick plays, which
Yeah. So I definitely can see a recipe for the Saints murdering Carolina. Just like last week, everyone thought 10.5 for Detroit, and I said they're going to win by 30. And again, they didn't have to do much, and they did. So there's sometimes these lines are for a reason. So I like the Rams. Arizona is playing Chicago, right?
Yeah, I like Zona, but I get why people are hesitant.
No way. Like Kyler Murray's, the way he runs and scrambles. Marvin Harrison's making plays. Trey McBride's doing shit out there. Their defense is actually not looking horrible, like it was in the beginning. But I would take Kyler. You got to also look at like the coaching match and the quarterback match. Kyler's definitely a better quarterback. He's been here longer. He's got more experience.
And you mentioned a coaching matchup. Like, I don't know about you, but I kind of think Arizona has a much better coaching staff.
That's what I'm saying. It's a coaching mismatch. So I'm on Zona there. As much as it pains me to say this, I'm on Green Bay with the 3.5 if Love is playing. Although Love has made like 5 interceptions, I don't know, in the last 5 weeks or whatever. So I don't know.
It's been bad. It was bad against the Texans, and it was bad against the Jags at times. They looked better when they got out of the game against the Jags.
Yeah, it was just so. Even if it's Malik, I think at home with 3.5, like LaFleur can find a recipe to cover this. They're not going to win, but remember Jared Goff and the Detroit. They're not at home in the dome. They're not in any dome. They're not in Minnesota's dome. They're not in the Saints' dome. They're not at home in their dome. They're outside. It's a little bit different. So, I think Detroit can win this, but if I were to bet this game, I would take Green Bay.
Well, and the spread's fluctuating a lot. Like, it was down to 2 earlier, and I wonder if it's back out. Let me check.
It was I got it at 3.5.
Yeah, when I picked it, when I picked it on Tuesday, it was at 3.5. Now it's at like 2.5.
Yeah, so I got the hook. When I got the hook, I took them at home.
Well, I wonder what Johnny would say about like the line movement of it. If that means we're getting Malik Willis or we're getting Jordan Love. Like, for me, I kind of would maybe prefer Jordan Love just because, like you said, the turnovers. But and listen, I get like the 3.5 for the Packers because my rationale when I picked it on Tuesday is because at a certain point, doesn't there have to be some sort of drop off for the Lions defense without Aiden Hutchinson?
Yeah, and you saw that last week. I told you guys Mason Rudolph is aids to the eyes, is what I said in the chat last week. And he really is. And somehow he scored an anytime touchdown. I think he might have ran. He fumbled. He's done everything. He did everything that you could do. Everything good, bad, the ugly, and he's still aids to the eyes. So, and they were still able to score on Detroit. Granted, they couldn't keep up because Detroit's offense is way too damn good. So, but I mean, and what is Tennessee, honestly? Slightly better than Carolina? Maybe.
I think Tennessee is well, with Tennessee, and that Lions game was weird because it had a weird game flow because of all the big special teams plays. So it's hard to judge. And every time the Lions got to the red zone, they just made a trick play or did something special. That's the thing with this game. It's just if the Lions, it seems like every time they get to the red zone, it's 6 points. That's what's complicated about trying to get against them. That's really my only worry.
Hey, Jerome, thank you. He said he's been following my picks, and I've been on fire. Yeah.
What's up, Jerome? Shout out, Jerome.
What's up, buddy?
Jerome.
Thanks for following. My props have been pretty hot too. The two that I listed for Mixon and I think it was Mixon and Garrett Wilson both hit last night, so that was good. The Jets money line I posted. I'm not on the Discord. I don't even know what a Discord is. So, so I just posted it in the regular Patreon.
Because it creates confusion, but regular Patreon's good too. That's the only bad thing about the Discord because then it takes away chat from the regular Patreon. But Sunday morning's normally buzzing on Patreon. During the week,
that's pretty much where I post my stuff, guys. I pretty much post my stuff on regular Patreon if you're on there. My props have been hitting, which is good. I need to just put them together in the right spot. But I don't really do over-unders. You're going to have to stick with somebody else with that because that's not really my forte. Unless something's just blatantly obvious for me, and then I'm, then that's one thing. But I hit most of my anytime touchdowns. I had a really good week last week. Every prop of mine hit. Every game of mine hit except for Cincy. I just thought Cincy laying 2.5 was just fishy. I just thought it seemed like a trap with Philly. So that's the only reason. That was really the only reason I went that way. Not because I really thought they're a better team, because I don't. But anyways, that one lost. But, nobody's perfect, right? We all go, I think I was 8 of 9, between my props and my plays. So I was happy with it. But, we're not going to have that. We're not going to have that every week. We're not always going to, last week was a great week for me for props and lines. This week's a little off, with certain things. So
the props are terrible this week. So
yeah, I don't my best prop. I think is I'm trying to think. It was who did I have? I don't even have my sheet because I'm in my car. But I'll have to post whatever I've got. I have stuff written down for you guys. I have some anytime touchdowns. I've got some rushing, receiving, and stuff. And I think I have a prop parlay that I put together back on Tuesday. I'd have to look in my again. I do this stuff sporadically when I can, but yeah, stuff's been good. The last 2 weeks is good. So who are you liking this week?
Oh, I like Rams. I like Commanders.
You like Washington with me? Oh, I'm so high.
I like a few over-unders as well. So
what do you think about the Chargers? What do you think about the Chargers this week?
Oh, I kind of want to. I'm leaning more towards the Browns, but I actually like the total in that game.
Really?
Yeah, the total's over 42.5. I think it goes over. I think Herbert's playing great.
He is.
So,
I can see Jameis throwing for a lot. So especially if they're behind. But Nick
well,
Chubb's
and
going to
here's
get
the thing
going.
that's so interesting about this game. Like, firstly, like I think the Browns are a good teaser option because I think it's like a one possession game no matter what. Secondly, I also think this Browns offensive line's finally getting healthy. And I think you mentioned last week the Browns would have like some sort of like not like a new coach bounce, but a new quarterback bounce, so to speak. Getting Jameis in there, and he can actually
Yeah,
play quarterback, and he's actually going to go down the field. And I know you don't have Amari Cooper anymore, but you still got Jerry Jeudy, you still got Elijah Moore, you still got Njoku, you still got Nick Chubb. Another week of Nick Chubb at that offense line plays better. I think it's going to be
yeah.
a good game, and I like the way Herbert's throwing right now. It's just when Jalen Rieger's your best deep threat, I start to get concerned.
Who do the Raiders have this week?
Oh, they got Raiders got your Bengals. It's down. It's was at 7.5 when I picked it on Tuesday. It's 7 now. So I
Where's
think
the
they
game?
cover, but
Where's the game? In
Cincy.
Cincy? It's a lot of points delay for Cincinnati, man.
With the way they're playing, with the way that defense is playing,
And I'll be honest with you, I think Miami gets murdered this week too.
I do. It's just that's Lauren. I've been pacing around the house thinking if I want to lay 6 on Patreon with the Bills the whole day.
I don't see why not. Why? Why not?
Well, you know, yeah, it's easy to say now. Like when it gets to Sunday at 3:45, when your
Listen,
nails
Miami's on my no-fly zone, so I can't touch Miami. I can't touch Cleveland. They're on my no-fly zone, but I mean, I don't see why the Bills don't murder them this week.
I don't see why because like, listen,
Josh
like
Allen is playing great. Amari Cooper has picked up so fast in that offense. He's a veteran. You know what I'm saying? He can with a guy like Josh Allen throwing to him. It's just like he's back in Dallas with Dak. It will be. It will be a couple more games. You watch. So I think that the tight ends are playing lights out. They're running the ball like it's their job. I don't know if with Miami, I think they had some injuries that I was looking at, right? That are still kind of questionable.
well, they got some problems on defense. Like I didn't
Yeah.
see anything that's like out of the ordinary, but like it's kind of like the same problems with Miami. Like my analysis, I don't know if you heard it, but just to make it quick, just look at Tua's throw chart against Zona. Like I said, Tua played brilliant besides the 3 fumbled snaps, which
3 fumbled snaps.
Yeah, and one went into the end zone and changed
in
the
one
touchdown.
game. 3 in one game.
And one goes into the end zone, it hits him in his hands, then he gets all snappy saying it's easy to catch it.
It was atrocious. I literally saw that. I looked and I had to rewind the red zone to make sure they weren't showing a replay of the one that had happened 5 minutes ago. So
Chris,
I was
come
like,
on the show. Chris, come on the show.
I was like,
Chris,
what is going on over here?
I agree, man. I agree. I'm concerned about it. And so, and like, I think the Bills run the ball on him. Like, and Chris said Zach Ziegler's out, but he was out last week. I felt like the Dolphins played really good against the run. And I felt like that was the key for them. But yeah, like, that's the same thing. And the Bills have a very good pass rush. So obviously they're afraid to get Tua hit. They're getting it out in 2.5 seconds. They're afraid to throw it down the field. They threw it down the field one time. Tua underthrew a touchdown to Tyreek. He caught it. But it's just not really like using Tyreek Hill, so we can't really get excited about Tyreek and Waddle. There's only so many.
That was my touchdown prop that missed. Hill. He's the one that I missed.
Well,
Jerk.
Yeah, I set everyone to fucking fail up on that one. So
I was high on it too. I said, oh, here comes finally Tyreek Hill. Everyone who's been freaking suffering in fantasy all these weeks finally has something to look forward to. Nothing. Like
Well,
one catch.
and there's only so many quick passes you can throw in a game. And Dolphins were running it. I just can't see them running it as well as they did against Zona against the Bills either. And then like the defense, like if you can't contain Kyler, like I know Kyler's quicker than Josh Allen, but like you said, this is the best version of Josh Allen we've seen in like 3 years. So he's going to get out of the pocket. Maybe if the Bills get a ton of penalties on first down, maybe it's an equalizer. Like
The penalties, that's gonna come. That just comes in like the Jets games, and I mean everything. A flag. Everything's a flag. Like the first half of the game, I was halfway asleep. Last night, I was like, this might be the most boring shit I've ever watched in my life.
It was a torture session, and honestly, Lauren, like that game the Jets blew against the Steelers. Like I obviously have to hold the L, but that was just that took a little bit off of my life watching them blow that. And then you watch them the first half. I get on Patreon, I say like, man, I kind of think the Jets are going to win. I'm not telling you what to do.
Right.
And I just let you guys in the comments try to push people because like I've already pushed enough people. I don't want to send anyone into a fucking onslaught, like where you get, where you send the soldiers and they're surrounded. Like what was that movie 300? They're just surrounded, like getting onslaughted by all sides. But
yeah,
fuck, man.
Someone said it's supposed to rain in Green Bay, which makes me like them even more.
Yeah, I mean, Goff didn't play good last week. That was Goff's worst game of the year, but
and they won by 30.
Yeah, I know, and they could have won by more. They were going really wild.
Yeah, Jameson Williams just wide open. Like, I mean, he's out there at like the 15-yard line. Not a soul person, not even any of his own teammates, none of the Tennessee team, not one person. The closest person to him was a cameraman.
Pretty much.
Just here you go. Here you go.
Pretty much.
Go run it in. But you're not going to, it's going to be harder against Green Bay outside, especially if there's inclement weather. So I think Jacksonville goes up to Philly this week, right?
Yeah, I think they cover. It's just, yeah, it's.
How many points is that?
7.5.
Jacksonville's got some injuries. We got to see about the wide receiver there, man, because Christian Kirk, I think, is questionable. So is
Thomas Jr.
Thomas.
Let me go check. Let's see what talk. I'll go check.
Because I was high on them last week, and I'll tell you who else I'm high on again this week is Indy.
I think they cover.
Oh, I think Joe Flacco has been announced as this player. I am smashing Indy this week. I know Minnie's lost 2 games in a row, and now they're at home. They're at home, right? And so this is a get-right spot for them. Jonathan Taylor's happy. Josh Downs has got Joe Flacco in. He's going to have all kinds of – Christian Darrisaw being gone, to me, is a problem.
Well, they got the Jags left tackle, but he only had like 3 practices to get up to speed, and Cam Robinson's not all that good. But yeah,
wasn't he cut?
Traded, but it's not like the Vikings are bringing in an elite left tackle, and you can't replace Christian Darrisaw like you said. Like, Darrisaw is insane.
It's like trying to replace Gronk. Like it's just
it's tough, man.
My brother laughed at me because when I said Gronk had retired from New England before we knew he was going to go to Tampa, I said, "What do you think New England's going to do with missing Gronk?" And my brother said, "Lauren, you don't just replace Gronk. There's no Gronk 2. There's no Gronk.
There's only so many like elite players. They don't grow on trees.
Right. So, there's just certain people you can't replace, Well,
and like all the stat guys are on the Vikings, and I get it. It's just like, listen, because here's the thing with the Colts. Do I think their offensive line's a little bit overrated? Yes, but they don't pass block well. But one thing they do is run block well. And I know the Vikings technically have the number one run defense and EPA and all that. But you saw what that meant last week. It meant fuck all. Like 3 Ram starters were out and they were pushing the Vikings back. And then once you push the Vikings back, they can't rein in zone blitzes, and then they become an average defense at best. So,
Well, and listen, no one realizes this, but the Colts have a winning record. Like, they could easily take this division with what's happened to Houston lately.
yeah, I do think people are getting a little bit excited about that, but point taken. Like,
But did you not realize their record was like, what are they right now? Like 4-3?
I still think they're one game behind 500. Let me check.
I thought
But
they were 4.
point taken. Yeah, they're 4-4. So point taken.
4-4.
So,
They haven't had a bye.
Either way, point taken. We meet in the middle. But it's like they're not a bad team with Flacco, and Flacco's good. But I don't want to overrate Flacco going in there. But like one thing about Flacco, like one player prop Coop is on. He's on Josh Downs to go over his receiving yards, which makes sense because Josh Downs is useless with Anthony Richardson.
Completely.
But yeah. And you saw how good Josh Downs was in that Jacksonville game. So it's
killed it.
Yeah. So
I'm definitely on them to cover. How many is that? 5.5?
5 now. It's moving down and makes sense. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It is a great, like, honestly, like if we analyze spot for spot, like it kind of is a better spot for the Vikings. I just want to see them stop the run because we finally saw JT get going, and I respect this Texans run defense, but maybe I'm overrating what they did against the Packers. But I respect this Texans run defense. I felt like they ran it really well against the Texans, all things considered.
JT is a big difference maker, man.
He's fucking good, so it helps.
And Flacco is definitely a more serviceable quarterback than Richardson. So
and Lauren, did you see last week? Okay, in that Texans game, well, because you had the Texans. Because you bet the Colts against the spread, so I'm sure you were agonizing. And we had others who were on the Colts on Patreon. Did you see that interception fucking Anthony Richardson threw before halftime?
I sure did.
And everyone was blaming Steichen. And at a certain point,
when does someone freaking take the credit from him? Like, because he literally he came out of the game. He said because he was tired.
Crazy. I've never seen that. I've never seen that in Pop Warner. Like I said, Lauren, it's one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
What quarterback says, take me out because I'm tired? You might not need to be a starting quarterback, and I'm sorry.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
So there's a reason Flacco, like I said, Flacco is going to make a big difference. And there's at some point in time, do we maybe think that Sam Darnold isn't like the next coming of freaking Brady, what everyone's making him out to be? At some point in time, does it kind of catch up? And like, I'm not trying to hate on him because I think him going to Minnesota was great, and him getting a coach that's gonna bring out the best in him is what you want. But at some point in time, do we think maybe as the season goes on, certain injuries happen and certain teams start to get better, get their groove together, maybe Sam Darnold isn't like, comeback player of the year?
I think both things can be true. Like, for instance, Speck is saying in the chat, Colts can't stop a nosebleed, which I completely agree. At least they got DeForest Buckner back, but the Vikings
That's what I mean.
But at least the Vikings are probably going to run it up and down their throats all day. Like, I think both things can be true at the same time. I'm just worried. Here's what I'm worried about in terms of Sam Darnold. I'm not seeing enough him working the ball to Jordan Addison. We got Hawkinson coming back this week, which is obviously a terrible matchup for the Colts. The Colts secondary has performed better than I thought, but it's tough to tell. I still think like on paper it's like a bottom 5 secondary in the league. So it's tough. Like Darnold's got to get it to more people than Justin Jefferson. Like because Addison,
Yeah, like literally Addison last week on their Thursday night game had had one catch.
Yeah, people want us to talk about this over under. Let me talk about the over under on the Colts game. I mean, the more we talk about it, the more I think it's going to go over. I forget. Okay, let me just check this later.
And if it's going to go over, we think there's going to be a lot of scoring, right?
Yeah, so let me see what the over under is because yeah, good on that guy bringing it up. It's 46.5. So like I'm seeing like a 27-24 type scenario. Yeah,
which means they cover the spread.
Yeah, I think it's going to go over because like Specs is right too. Like the Colts defense can't stop a nosebleed. Like that is completely true.
Can we talk about the Chiefs in Tampa for a second?
Because yeah, I think Jarrett Hart wants to talk about that. He's big on his Bucks, but
yeah. Is it 9.5?
Yeah, 9.5.
Whew. How much did Baltimore beat Tampa by?
It was a lot, but I think Tampa put up a lot of garbage points, but there was a time in the second half the Ravens were up like 27. But yeah, is the Chiefs offense even that explosive? Like
no, I mean we're comparing two different offenses. Now the Chiefs defense has definitely been holding their own.
It's crazy.
But
Lauren.
I mean, who has the Chiefs covered a spread on? Being that all year.
Saints, which they should have never covered that spread.
Okay.
Chargers was a push.
Right.
Nobody. 49ers, they covered it.
Okay.
Trying to think of the other games. Spock says they're 5-2 against the spread. Which is high for them. Like that's about the best record they've ever had against the spread.
I don't even know that they're 5-2 against the spread. Are you sure? They didn't cover against the Raiders. They didn't cover against
I had the Raiders last week. Who wants to bet that?
They didn't cover against Cincinnati. They didn't cover against Baltimore.
They covered against Baltimore. Trust me, I took that in them.
They did. That.
Yeah, just barely.
Oh, right.
They should have never covered it though, but they played like shit.
Yeah, Baltimore should have won that game.
Yeah, so they're not a great covering team in these spots. Let's just say that. Point taken.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's like I don't know.
But here's the thing, Lauren. Like. I feel like this Chiefs defense, like run defense wise, we haven't really got to see their pass defense tested, although they look good against Purdy. But we haven't got to see their pass defense tested. But I feel like this run defense is the best they've had in this dynasty era.
Yeah.
But I still feel like this Bucs team will be able to scheme enough to create. Like I really like the Bucs' creativity on offense. So that's
they're using that. They're using, but I mean, like. Their number one receiver right now is Cade Otton as a tight end. So that concerns me a little bit.
Azul says Koo over 1.5 field goals. Thank me later.
Let me tell you about Younghoe Koo. If he misses one more damn field goal on my fantasy team and I lose by 3 points because he's missed 2 and the man never misses, he's about to get benched.
He's a good kicker, though, Lauren. You lucked out with him, and the Falcons kick a lot of 50-yarders, so that's good for fantasy.
And let's see, somebody wanted to talk about Dallas and the Falcons. What is that, 2.5?
3.5 now.
Is Micah Parsons back?
He should be, but no one really knows.
I don't think I can touch that game. Stay away from it.
Yeah, like you know me, I love the Falcons, but even I was a little bit
I'm a little
skeptical when I
hesitant.
had the 2.5
If,
on.
yeah, 2.5, I think I'm on it. 3.5, I think it basically becomes a no play for me.
Pretty much, and like both
I
teams are
would take Bijan. I would take Bijan over whatever the hell his running is. Tell you that much.
76.5. So,
Okay, I'm sold.
well, Cowboys are banged up in the middle. Like I think
Yeah.
Linval Joseph will play, for instance, but they're banged up everywhere. Bye week didn't
So
get them healthy.
yeah. So whatever Bijan's at, I'll slam that one.
But
As long
yeah,
as they
so
don't just give it to Tyler Algier, we'll be okay.
they give it to him a lot. So, but
I
I
know
mean,
what I'm saying.
Bijan's playing the best football of his career.
Well,
Last week against
he's finally getting utilized.
especially in the pass game. That's what I'm liking.
Yeah, you could take him over. What is it, like over 2.5 catches? That should be a slam dunk. You know,
Campbell says Micah Parsons out.
Micah Parsons out. Oh,
It's
slam
crazy.
Bijan.
What's going on in fucking Dallas? That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, slam Bijan's over, and I might even take Atlanta now. Money
no, but
line.
that's what I'm saying, Lauren, because something's not right there. Firstly, secondly, this is a great spot for Dallas against this Falcons defense that can't get a pass rush. But
Isn't Trayvon Diggs banged up too?
he's out, and he wasn't
Trayvon Diggs
expected
is
to
out
be
too?
banged. Yeah,
Wait.
and Bland's still out. Maybe Bland's back. I like I said, I've been following these Cowboys injuries for
hold on a second.
weeks. I'm tired.
Parsons is out. Trayvon Diggs is out. Like, how can we not take Atlanta now? What?
I mean, those are like 2+ players.
Them?
Those players are worth points on spreads.
Who's going to stop Atlanta's offense?
It's just wishful thinking. It's just Atlanta stopping Atlanta, which they did against the Seahawks, even though they moved the ball up and down the field the whole time. It's just relying on Atlanta to make mistakes. Which is
I was on the Seahawks though, so I can't say much there because I picked the Seahawks that game.
Atlanta dominated the game.
But I can see Dallas hasn't done shit all year except for beat up on the Browns. That's all they've done. And they didn't even cover against the Giants. So they're going to go to Atlanta with no Micah Parsons, no Trayvon Diggs. They still are missing Brandon Cooks, right? And what? CeeDee Lamb is just going to be double covered. And then what?
Yeah, and it's just forcing the ball to Ferguson, and Brandon Cooks will be back, but that's only so much, you know. And Deron Bland's out, like so. Micah Parsons, Deron Bland's out,
and their run game is absolutely atrocious. I don't give a shit if Dalvin Cook is there or not now, but whatever it is, their run game. They had a chance to get Derrick Henry over the offseason, and they wouldn't pay that man because they said thought he was washed up and not worth it. Okay, well, let me tell you something. Who's laughing now? Baltimore.
Yeah, like as good a spot as it is for Dallas.
He wanted to go to Dallas. He wanted to go there.
Well, and Jerry's been going crazy on the radio attacking people, trying to cope about it. So obviously it's bothering him.
Yeah, because they were the first option for him. They had a chance to have Derrick Henry on that team, and they chose no because they thought he was done and not worth the dollars. Well, let me tell you something. You know who Derrick Henry is right now? He's the closer for Baltimore. He's the Mariano Rivera of baseball, okay? He's the Mariano Rivera of football when it comes to needing a touchdown or a big-ass play to make shit happen, except for last week, obviously. But he's their closer. When it comes down to the wire, the ball goes to him. He might not have it all first half or maybe have like 22 yards the whole first half and then springs off a 47-yard run for you in the fourth quarter to get you set up for first and goal. He's their closer. He's the Mariano Rivera of football right now. That's who he is.
Well, and just one last thing about the Cowboys. Their scripted offense, the way they start games on offense has been terrible this year as well. So
Yeah.
if you give Atlanta a lead, like Atlanta's issue has been getting down in games, and then they don't play well from behind, even though they're explosive. So yeah, what do you think about this Ravens Broncos game?
How many is that?
-9 Ravens.
Two good coaches, man.
Yeah, Sean Payton's great, man.
Yeah, two good coaches.
I think people are getting a little bit crazy about Denver, and they're underestimating Sean Payton. This is more Sean Payton than like the team being good. Like, just want everyone to know.
Yeah. So, I mean, Bo Nix is like serviceable. I wouldn't call him like anything extravagant.
People
but
are
he's
saying he's getting better because he tore apart the Panthers in the fourth quarter, which
he's getting better and he's serviceable. Do I want to take Denver in Baltimore? Like, after Baltimore is going to be pissed off that they lost to Cleveland on a divisional game? Probably not.
Yeah, it's just needed to get that one out there. Like, I know it's not the most appeasing game to talk about, but I've seen a lot of like Denver, like let's pound Denver this week, and
no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't pound Denver. It's like, did you really want to pound Tennessee last week? No. Like, I'm not saying Denver's not better than Tennessee. They obviously are, but Baltimore laying 9, like that's about the number I would have. Like, that's about where we're at. Is about 9. That it's probably.
And I don't like laying a lot of points with the Ravens either.
They'll probably, honestly, you'll sweat it for a little while. So they'll probably win by like 10 or 12. Like, they're not, you know what I'm saying? Something along those lines. They're going to probably cover it, but you're going to have to sweat that game for quite a bit. So, I don't know. You want to have to take a Xanax during that game? I don't know. I mean, like, they're probably going to cover that, guys, but like, that's going to be a sweat because I just don't know if they can get out to it, because if Denver scores first, oh God, like, you know what I mean? Just by chance, if they score first, you know what I mean? And who did they just add as a wide receiver in Baltimore?
Yeah, they got Michael Mann's favorite wide receiver, Deontay
Johnson.
Yeah.
Woo! That's gonna be big. I don't know. And they got him from Carolina, right?
Yeah.
So who the freak is catching the ball in Carolina this week?
Thielen might be back.
Why are we not pounding the Saints? Who's going to be you've got the worst quarterback in the league and no one to throw to.
I just feel like you can I just feel like you could put the Saints on like a teaser.
Yeah, I don't know. Fine. Sure. Money.
All right. Any last bets you want to get out before we go?
Nope. I got to go to poker, but I will get my sheets together and I'll post my stuff on Patreon once it's up and available.
All right. Good night. Yeah. I'll have the bets up like 10:30 Eastern time. I got a soccer one you guys can't miss this week. So hit the like button.
When is it? What day is it?
It's going to be Saturday. So
it's tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to post it? Because I don't know. I know more about the people that are parked next to me than I do about soccer.
Well, you learned a little bit about soccer last night watching the Jets-Texans first half.
Pretty much. Yes. All right, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Yo, thank you, Lauren, for coming on.
Yeah, anytime.
Let's go Rams, baby. Let's go Rams.
Let's go Rams.
But you getting against the Seahawks is a good sign because you've always liked the Seahawks and I feel like you properly rate them, and they're a hard team to play.
I do, yeah. And I was high on them against Atlanta, which nobody else really understood. But I knew them coming across country. They had played 3 games in 11 days before that game. You know what I mean? I told you guys that. They had played 3 games in 11 days before their bye. So they had finally had time to get shit right. So it was a get right game for them to go beat up on Atlanta. And they did. Now they're back home where they're almost worse, coming up against a Rams team who's now getting healthy, and McVay is just going to literally, this is his chance to kind of like start saying, yeah, we're a competitor in this division, and he's gonna win. He's gonna make sure he wins.
Anyways, Lauren, I'll let you go.
All right, guys. Good seeing you. Y'all have a good one.
It's nice talking to you, Lauren. And G Ramos, I'm good, man. I hope you're doing good too. Hope you have a great Friday, man. And Wade, I'm thinking about visiting home for Christmas, maybe New Year's, maybe my birthday in January. It's just, dude, the prices are so crazy, man. Like the airfare is so crazy. Like I used to be able to get like a round trip for like, we're talking like 1,200. Like we're looking at like 2,700. And I'm not crying poor. I'm doing fine here. But goddamn, like, it goes a year and a half ago, it's 1,200 round trip. Now it's like fucking 2,700. Like that's more than like a double price increase. So Ravens defense makes me fucking nervous too. So I agree with you guys. Well, hopefully the price is lower. Like I said, I'm not optimistic anything's gonna happen. Yo, see you, Chico. Hope everyone has a good night. Let's get this money, Steve. Good luck on Monday night, Jarrett, with your boys. Hit the like button, share the videos.